Between 1933 and 1945, a dark chapter of human history, a terrible event occurred. A symmetric genocide planned by Nazi Germany, now known as the Holocaust, resulted in the merciless murder of 6 million European Jews. This journey period began with Adolf Hitler's rise of power and ended with the fall of Nazi Germany in World War II.
In the early 20th century, as Europe grappled with the aftermath of World War I, a charismatic figure emerged on the German political scene, Adolf Hitler. Hitler's oratory skills and promises of a restored Germany resonated with a disillusioned population. Riding the wave of discontent, Hitler joined the German Workers' Party, which later transformed into the Nazi Party. His ascent to power began.
Anti-Semitism, the hatred and discrimination against Jews, has a long history in Europe. During the Middle Ages, Jews faced widespread persecution, were stripped their citizenship, and forcibly deported. The prejudice lasted from 6th to 8th century, with varied degrees of prejudice in different regions.
In the 19th century and the early 20th centuries, new forms of anti-Semitism emerged, fueled by nationalist movements and racial ideologies. Jews were labeled as outsiders, blamed for society problems, and portrayed as a threat to the purity of the nation. These ideologies found fertile ground in the tumultuous political climate of post-World War I Germany.
As Hitler came to power, anti-Semitic laws and politicals began to affect the life of German Jews. In the early days of Hitler's directorship, he instituted a series of discriminatory measures that gradually eroded the civil and human rights of the Jews. The 1933 restoration of professional civil servant art excluded Jews from government positions, and subsequent legislation restricted their protection in various professions and public life.
The Nuremberg race laws of 1935 marked a turning point. These laws defined Jews not by religious belief, but by ancestral blood, effectively stripping them of their citizenship. They prohibited intermarriage between Jews and Aryans. They introduced a range of restrictions that isolated and marginalized the Jewish population.
After the Nazis occupied Poland in 1939, they began to build ghettos. Jews were fortunately confident to their overcrowded and impoverished areas, cut off from the rest of society. Ghettos were only the temporary measure as the Nazi ultimate goal was the symmetric extermination of the Jews.
Nazis also expanded their network of concentration camps, initially established to incarcerate and intimidate political opponents. The camps evolved into instruments of terror and control. Prisoners, including Jews, faced growing labor, extraction, and brutal abuse. The concentration camps operate outside the realm of justice, with inmates denied basic human rights.
But the darkest chapter of the Holocaust unfolded during World War II. The Nazis developed a systematic plan to exterminate Europe's Jewish population. Hundreds of thousands of people have been killed in mass shootings carried out by mobile killing squads known as special task forces. However, the scale of destruction increased further with the implementation of gas chambers and specially designed extermination camps.
Natural with Mrikinen, Treblinka, Blask, and Kalamuk become infamous names associated with mass murder. Jews, along with other targeted groups such as Roma people and disabled individuals, were transported to these extermination camps, decided into believing they were being rested. They faced unimaginable horrors, gassed, incinerated, and reduced to ashes.
Nazi radical superiority and aggressive anti-Semitism first the Holocaust. They spearheaded and scapegoated Jews, falsely blaming them for Germany's social, economic, and political problems. The Holocaust is a stark reminder of how deep human nature can sink when fueled by prejudice, injustice, and unchecked hatred.
Today, we bear witness to the memory of millions of lives lost and vow to preserve the lessons of the Holocaust. It serves as an enduring call to cultivate understanding, empathy, and commitment to uphold the inherent dignity and worth of every human being.